everybody, this is Adrienne with Ascension Soul Coaching. So today I'm going to do a reading on the jab. Somebody asked me about that, like, what's in the jab? What do I think about the jab? Well, one, I think that there is a C or a V virus out there that we all need to be aware of, right? I think that the government, our U.S. government, has been implicated in understanding and knowing that there was a it's called gain of function research. I think some things got out, and they've been not telling us the truth about where it's originated. It's now becoming more of a issue now, where people are asking Dr. Fauci about his contributions and supporting through the NIH this particular funding through third-party scientists. And so I think that I'm very leery of taking Frankenstein's cure for something he created on purpose. That's my opinion, but you do your own research and you figure out what you want to do, but that's my opinion. I know lots of people who've taken the jab. That's their choice, so I just respect the choices. But for me, no. I think that with all the chips that they're creating now, like the ID.me and the ID 2020, which has become the ID 2021, where they're tracking and putting all your information on one little chip. You got Biden saying he's going to buy more chips from China for our e-cars and all these other things. I don't trust it. And then people do say, well, you have a chip on your phone and your credit card. I'm like, but okay, there's a separate things. I don't have to take my phone wherever I go. I don't have to take my credit card wherever I go or use it on every single thing. But if they supposedly put a chip in you to track you, it's a little different, because everywhere you go, everything you do, everything you say, all your symptoms, everything about you is on one little chip, and they can track you. So I don't agree with that. Now, do we know that they're putting a chip in us that is going to be able to do that? Well, let's just say it this way. They have the capabilities of doing it. And too many people said yes and not knowing what's in those jabs. So for two reasons. One, they've created it. They were part of the gain of our U.S. government, and other countries too, were a part of the gain of function research that created these super viruses, and now they want to push these vax and jabs on us. And I'm not a part of it. I don't want that, because I don't trust you. Me, I don't. You could do what you want to do. Trust who you want to trust. I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other. Just saying it based on my opinions. And two, now you come with these chips, and these chips are able to, and this is known, it's conspiracy theory. Our country for sure is definitely using ID.me, ID 2020, I got the ID 2020, 19, I had to renew my license because I got married. And I was very hesitant about doing that then. I'm like, why do you need my birth certificate? That I was getting a driver's my ID changed. My license wasn't even up. I was just going to get my name changed, and they asked for my birth certificate and my passport, and like, what do you need all this for? Just an ID. I already have my driver's license. I'm already in your system. You know who I am. It didn't matter, and I was kind of like, but you're putting a little signal on there. I don't. That's what they did with the Nazis, making people carry. And I was saying that then they're making people carry the little card that they can be tracked, just like the Nazis did to the Jews. And I'm like, I was fussing with the DMV person there. Division of Motor Vehicles, where you have to have a driver's license to drive in America. And I'm like, then fighting. And he was like, ma'am, I don't know why they're doing it. I don't agree with it, but this is what they're saying. Even your passport's eventually going to have a chip in it. And so they were telling me back in 2019 this was happening. So when 2020 happened, and you had the track and trace, and you have all these other tools coming out, you're going to have your passport's going to have a chip in it eventually. They're saying it's not. They say it. I think they're just conditioning us by saying, we're thinking about it. Oh no, we're not going to do it. And then eventually, when they do it, you've already heard about it. So you've given up so much of your rights, so much of your free will, that by the time you get there, they've worn you down, and you're going to just say, okay, yeah, I want to travel, I want to do this. So you just give all your freedoms away, all your civil liberties away, and I am not down for that. So that is my opinion. I think we all need to just really, really read up on this stuff. It's on the internet. It's in research papers. It's in your governmental papers. They're telling you this is happening. So it's not just me spouting off conspiracy theories. You really you truly do need to read on your own, and to get comfortable with what's going on, and figure out which way you want to go. But those are my opinions. Let's start out with that. So with that, I'm going to do a reading on all the governments are now saying that they're going to We're going to have our freedoms back by, in Britain, I think it was June 21st. In France or Canada, I think they also said June 22nd. And in America, they're saying July 4th, which is our Independence Day. That enough people have taken the jabs rather, that 70%, and so therefore they've reached their percentage threshold, so we can all have our freedoms back. Well, what in the world does that mean? Does that mean that prior to 2019 or 2020 that we can go back to that? We still have the right to fight the government and to protest and to vote the way we want to vote. We have freedom of speech, that we could say what we want to say without YouTube taking our videos down, and without us having to be afraid to say a word on YouTube because it's against the WHO. I mean, what does this freedom mean? And personally, I'm thinking we may not be able to do this by, I'm going to go by the furthest date they've listed as July 4th of this year. So for all the world governments who are saying that by no later than July 4th, you'll be free to live your life in Rome and do whatever you want to do and travel with no more restrictions, no more masks, no more lockdowns. Let's just read the cards and see. That was my rant in the beginning, y'all. It's just so much pent up. And I know many people who've taken the jab and they're happy. My issue is you don't know what's in it. And we're going to read, are we all going to be free? I'm already free from this mess. For July 4th. Based on what the governments are telling y'all, that's your freedom day from all these restrictions. And I'm going to pull out 3 cards. That's 3. And I am using, so you'll know, the Illuminati cards. These cards came out in 1990. They're playing cards and trading cards, but they also, they're good for reading life events, huge events, political events, right, natural current events. And there are many different decks. This is one of the small. I have 2 decks together, but there's like, I don't know how many sets out there, but I don't want to get my sets to get too big. I kind of keep them in the certain events. Mine is called the Mutual Assured Distraction cards. You can see that? There you go. But there's all kinds. I get them off of eBay and I love them. So we got 1 card that flew that way. We're going to use that. And I do not read these cards reversed. So that's 1 card. So we're talking now about the release date. Our release date by July 4th, 2021 from this pandemic. And we can go back to our lives and live it free as we want, as we were in 2019, right before the pandemic started. Let's see. 3 cards. I need 2 more. Okay. Here's another card. Let's see. And we got 1 more card. And we have 3. Okay. I have no idea what they're saying. So I'm going to turn the camera down so you all can see the cards. Let's start. Okay. So the first card said Loopholes. So these are playing cards, as I said, so I do have to read them. I'm going to read them based on what it says for the card, the playing game, but then we're going to interpret it for the card reading. So let's read it. Losing money turns out to be profitable. When you collect money at the beginning of the turn, roll a die for each group of which you own with well, I guess a $0 income, and put that many MBs on that group. Don't know what MBs are, but we're going to say this is the card. Fanatics unite. There's nobody left in the center. All fanatic groups are now considered the same alignment and get +4 to control each other. Okay. And then the third one is Flying Saucer. This one's a little longer to read. It says this vehicle was found buried in a cornfield in Idaho. It would take a small number of people anywhere in the world undetectably within an hour. Linked to a personality, the flying saucer gives 10 points against any attack to destroy or assassination. It is captured or destroyed if he is left unlinked. Left unlinked as property of the Illuminati, the flying saucer lets you make an automatic takeover of the extra resource card each turn, provided you discard your top undrawn plot card in exchange. Okay. Let's read the cards. I have no idea what this means, but we're going to figure it out. Okay. So loopholes. So we asked, were we gonna be able to be free by July 4th of 2021? And there's loopholes. So they're gonna give you a loophole. They're gonna say, well, technically there's this new variant coming, and of course, we don't want to be too overly promising of anything. So we think that we're gonna just keep a couple things down low, and you all still have to wear masks. We just don't know. Let's just get through this last summer and last flu season before we make a determination that everything's free and clear. Plus, we don't have our 70%. So we don't have 70% herd immunity. So we just don't feel like we should. Just be patient with us. And so they're keeping the gap. They're keeping these things on the back to use against us to continue to prolong this. And people are going to get upset. But so many people have taken the jab. But they also want to have the freedom as well. And so they're like, well, we did everything you've said. We're ready for our freedom. But there's nobody left in the center. So either you're going to be so there are people going to be upset. There are people on one side saying, just get it so we can get our 7% and we can get back to life. And then you got people like me who's going to be like, well, I choose not to do it because I don't have to do it, and I don't need to do it because I have a natural healthy immune system. So I'm not going to take something that I don't need to take, and I don't even know what's in it. And there's going to be this tug of war. They're going to blame the government, and they're going to blame people who are not taking the jab. So it's going to be a problem, right? It's going to be a little mini war going on this summer. People are going to be really upset. Look, grandmama out there fighting, dragging. That's the virus. Look, that's the virus. That's grandma. That's the military. That's our capital in the back. I mean, people are just upset. They just want their lives back any way they can get it. And then we have the flying saucer. So I don't know what this means. Maybe this means that there's going to be some more variants flying out there around, and it's because this thing is they claim airborne out there. And and here's the other thing. I don't know if y'all have heard. I've just heard about it. Well, I heard about it. There was some mention of it last year, early on during the pandemic when it first started, and now I hear more and more about these flying saucers, UFOs in America. All the military and the Pentagon coming out saying that there's true flying saucers. Now, I don't know why they're saying that, because whether it's true or not, why all of a sudden now everybody's talking about it, releasing videos of this stuff. I mean, the military is not just people releasing videos of this stuff and talking about this stuff and doing interviews about this stuff. But then you hear Jeff Bezos just said the other day, I think it was today, he's supposed to be flying into space. Now let me ask you a question. We had a teacher, McCullough, that was flying with the Challenger in 1986, and I remember this clearly because I graduated high school in 86. Oops, I told you my age. But anyway, 86. And the shuttle, the Challenger, and it blew up. And so, but when she was in training, the teacher, they were showing you all about the training. They did all the interviews with her about her training exercises, and it was such a big, spectacular event that was supposed to happen. And unfortunately, she lost her life. And then other people who were not real astronauts, quote unquote, who go into space, whatever, they do these big documents and interviews and and play them and let you get to understand these people, why they're going into space. But have you seen any of the training exercises for Bezos? No. All of a sudden now he's going to go into space. And Elon Musk is, I guess, heading it. Now, let me just say this. The government, our government for sure, I don't know about your other governments, fund through government contracts Elon Musk spaceships and space launches he did last year. They're putting up more 5G tower satellites up in the sky, so they say, and then they're also trying to see if they can go to other planets and live and whatever, space stations, whatever. But coinciding that with these spaceships and UFO sightings or conversations and releases of video, I'm wondering why, if there is a correlation, because why now all of a sudden are we talking about all these space shuttles or UFOs, all these UFOs, and now Bezos wanting to go into space this week? I mean, that's a big risk. Yeah, I mean, he's probably done everything. I know a lot of really rich people, wealthy people, billionaires, whatever, the more money you get, the more risky you are, the more adventure you want, because you have did that, now I want to do that. Like people who want to climb Mount Everest kind of sort of thing. Now this person wants to go into space. But it's just interesting that now they're talking more and more about unidentified objects. So now we're going to have drones out there that's going to be monitored. So the state of Maryland already says they're using drones to police areas. They got people flying into space. And now all of a sudden the military and the government is talking more about UFOs. So I wonder how this is all correlated this summer. Are we going to see more and more people flying out in space? Are more and more people going to die? Are they really flying in space? Remember that movie? I know I'm talking fast because I just feel this. Remember the movie, and go back and look it on YouTube if you don't remember, 2012, when the rich people paid millions of dollars because they knew the world was coming to an end, and they got these secret messages, and then they had to send $1 million or whatever to the secret bank account, and then they got on these big space looking like ships, right? That is like 3 or 4 of them to start a new earth, or a new world. And I'm wondering if that's about to happen in some form or fashion. Maybe not to that degree, but are they training and testing for that? Something's about to happen, y'all. Something in doing with space. Now I know this is a solar maximum this year, or the next couple of years, where we're going to have possibility of droughts. They're saying the sun's going to become so hot that we're going to have a lot of drought issues worldwide for the next few years, not just going to be 1 year thing. So is that another reason why? Because you got depopulation, you got this 10-year, I think it's a 7 to 10-year drought situation that's going to possibly happen, right? So are the elites leaving and trying to get out of this area? Maybe they're not going into space. They could be going other places. We don't know. It could be in the middle of the world. The universe could be some island somewhere. Who knows where they're going? But they're trying to escape, knowing that this is happening. They got the money to do it, and they rather save themselves and tell the rest of the citizens what's about to happen. So this loophole to keep us in the dark for a while. Us fighting amongst each other, who took the jab, who didn't take the jab, god dang it. And now we got people, the elites, they're like, while y'all fighting, we just gonna leave. I know y'all think that sounds so far out, but who would have thought a year ago we would have this thing called the COVID-19, and we're all locked in our houses and locked down worldwide. People losing their jobs, people losing their lives, people losing their companies, people losing their civil rights, people losing the ability to make decisions on their own, people fighting over who's killing who because they didn't take a jab, not wanting to even touch and hug people because they may think somebody's going to kill them because they caught the V from them. Who would have thought in the next 2 years we're going to have all these e-cars and unmanned driving cars and all these 5G towers all along the highways and interstates tracking our very movement, every movement we make? Who would have thought we would have these things called ID 2020 and ID Me, where all of our information, well, we thought, we knew it could happen, but that it would be happening now with all of our information on one chip. And here we are. So this summer is going to be a very interesting summer, people. Just get your hats ready for it. Know where you stand and where you're going. So there's going to be a lot of things happening this summer. Keep your eyes and your ears open. Keep your mind open. This sounds like science fiction. It sounds like a movie. But the world is telling us that things are going to happen. The government is telling us things are going to happen. They haven't been honest with us in a year, over a year. So these cards are telling me they're pitting us against each other. They're going to keep us in bondage mentally while they're carrying out plans to save themselves and to keep us here unaware. They're printing out money like it's nobody's business. They got these CARES Act over in America. They got the furlough in England and where else they're giving people money and just paying for everything, and the money's not worth the papers pretty much written on, but we think it is, and so they give us the money to keep us quiet and keep us pacified, and then fighting against each other. They are telling us things that's not true. Fauci's lied about his and the NIH's and America's participation in the gain of function research that has created this virus. More than likely, this is the virus that was released from the Wuhan lab that we and other countries, now don't get it wrong, this wasn't America, funding that research. And nobody's upset. Not enough people. I was talking to a friend of mine today who had breast cancer, and I was telling her this. I said, Fauci knew about it, and nobody's really, enough people are not even outraged. We've had someone in our family die from COVID. So, and she's like, wasn't saying too much. And I say, you had breast cancer. What if you found out that the government created some type of viral disease that caused your breast cancer? Would you then be upset? Oh yeah, I'd be upset. Sure, I'd be upset. I'm like, but why aren't you upset that the government created a super virus that killed our cousin and many millions of other people? I don't know. Because they're telling you not to be upset. We have all these campaigns about fighting breast cancer. And so that makes you want to fight breast cancer. Not you, everybody. Or prostate cancer, or leukemia, or diabetes, or having high blood pressure. And we want to fight all these things because they tell us that's what we're supposed to be fighting. Yeah, but nobody wants that, right? Nobody wants those diseases, okay? But they create a virus, a super virus. No, it has the potential to kill us. They lie to us about where it came from. They mandate that we stay in our house. People lose their jobs, lose family members and friends, lose their companies, may not be able to pay for their house payments soon, utility bills, student loans, barely eat, some of these people. People living in tent towns in California, and nobody's outraged about what's happening. You know what someone told me one day when I was talking about the virus, and Fauci, you know what they said? Well, at least I got my jab. Did that just go over your head? Your government, more than likely, my opinion based on the research, don't read the research, people, don't just take my word for it, supported and paid for this research. And that in itself is not a problem. It got leaked. They were warned, if you can't mitigate the leaks, we can no longer fund this. They stopped the funding. Great for America. But then you get Fauci and his team, to get Trump to overturn it. Because now the problem is that we were the biggest supporters and funders of this research. America was. It put a big dent in that research program when we stopped funding it. They know. They hold symposiums about, is it morally ethical to continue with this testing, and do we have a way to mitigate it? They had never come up with one until Trump came into office, and they got Trump to overturn the ban because Trump hated everything about Obama. If Obama created it, he got rid of it. If Obama banned it, he bought it back. Everybody knew that Trump was easy, if you just brought up Obama's name, to get what you wanted out of him. So when they figure out, oh my goodness, we overturned something that leaked this thing, and Fauci was behind it. They got Fauci up on that podium every day at the White House with Trump to take care of the mess that he helped create. And now for his to have a mitigated gall to get on TV every single day like he's a celebrity, Frankenstein celebrity. Now he ain't the only one that created it. I'm saying he didn't put his hand in it. He created it himself, but he was in charge of it. He funded the research, and then he coerced or influenced Trump to overturn the ban that Obama had done. And the biggest problem was that it leaked, which they knew it would because they had no mitigation program. Then, on top of that, they get up there and lie to us every day and say they didn't know where it came from. The report came out in March of last year that it had come from the North Carolina lab working with Wuhan. They squashed that by May. Now it's come out again. And then Trump's now tweeting that he knew about it, but he stopped it when he was president. So he's already told you all, and I'll show you the tweet, that he knew about it and it's true. And that Fauci should be in jail is what Trump is saying now. So he's already admitted to it. And then you got Fauci, oh, well, yeah, I said all the time, we didn't know where it came from. You're right. We should just go to Wuhan and get them to tell us how it happened. You already paid Wuhan off. They're not going to tell us anything. And all the researchers that you paid off in between. So what they did was, they knew that it was they still had a mitigation program, so they hired a third-party vendor of scientists to do the research with Wuhan, or the Chinese government, the Chinese scientists. So it couldn't be kind of like tracked to them, to America, but it's already tracked. Like Rand Paul said, and I'm not a Rand Paul fan nor am I a Trump fan. They said, this is traceable to you, NIH. We gave you the money. The U.S. government gave you the money. You paid this group of people to continue the research when you knew you didn't have a mitigation program. And now it's out and people are dying. You sit there and act like you knew nothing. You're all over the place, Fauci. And nobody's holding him responsible for this but the conservatives. Again, if you knew that the government put out a virus to give people high blood pressure or breast cancer or brain cancer, well, you would be upset, outraged, especially if people in your family was dying. People who went against the EPA because little kids were being born with birth defects because the EPA didn't have rules and regulations about these big companies dumping poison into the water. People got outraged. But we have this situation here where we know that even the government's telling us they created this thing and it leaked more than likely out of the Wuhan lab for something we were supporting, and they lied to the citizens across the world, and nobody's upset other than the conservatives. Why is that, people? I'm asking a question. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just saying I'm asking a question. You all need to understand what's happening to you. You're being corralled into a certain gate you are not coming out of. You can feel it because you like the chickens on the farm. You're roaming chickens. But guess what? Those roaming chickens still get killed and eaten, don't they? You don't want to put them in little buildings and let them sit there and not move until they're killed and fed right to the people. You're free range. We're all free ranging, but we got beakers on us. We got things in us, tracking us. Telling us where we can't go, where we can't go, what we can think, what we can say. When did we lose the freedom to speak? Even our opinion. YouTube takes it down. You can't say this word, you can't say that word, you can't go against the WHO. But you want to ask me about a jab. And you forgetting about all the stuff that's happening around it. Broaden our thoughts. Open our minds. Start reading. Collecting information. And not just what's on the news, peeps. I'm off my high horse for today. I told you there's a lot more to talk about than H&M. They can't do nothing for you but get you upset. Whatever they're doing is not going to kill you. Make you upset. But what your government is doing to you and saying to you and the people around you are trying to force you to think can alter your life. So you better start thinking on your own. You better start doing your research. You better start making decisions. And you better start planning what you're going to do if certain things happen. So if you haven't started saving money, coins, food, water, knowing your plan for shelter, security, all that, seeing what's happening now, because you think on July 4th, by July 4th, you're going to be free. I'm just saying, think about it. Have plan B, C, and D. That's all I'm going to say. Have plan A, B, C, and D. Because I don't think plan A going to work for you. Not as far as you think it's going to work for you. So that is my reading for the day. Tomorrow's going to be much more uplifting and serene. We'll talk about the births, the pregnancy of Eugenia. Here she's having a hard time people talking about her because she announced her pregnancy on somebody's wedding anniversary date. So we'll talk about that next. How about that? Anyway, that's my opinion. I have many of them. Cards don't lie, peeps. Cards don't lie. All right, talk to you later. If you want a reading with me, you know how to get in touch with me. I am Adrienne with Ascension Soul Coaching at gmail.com. Talk to you later. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.